Welcome to episode 2 of the Improving Food series. Today we're looking at Adam Ragusea's oven French fries. He touts them as crispier than deep fried, and I can confirm that these suckers get really crispy. It's a killer way to make French fries as is, but there are a couple of small ingredient additions and technique adjustments that can lead to some pretty big differences in the final product in the recipe that I'll share with all of you. Hey everyone, I'm Ethan, a home cooking nerd who likes to find better ways to cook and share them with all of you. In this series, what we do is take various recipes from the internet from cooks and chefs and try to improve upon them in either speed, cost, taste, or texture. Today we're looking at Adam Ragusea's crispy oven French fries, which I have right here. And we're gonna do a quick recap of his recipe before jumping into changes to mine. And they'll both be linked down in the description. Mine will go to my website for my recipe, and I'll link Adam's video below if you guys wanna try out these recipes for yourself. But with that being said, let's do a quick recap of Adam's recipe. For Adam's recipe, he takes russet potatoes and cuts them into large, almost wedge-style French fries. These are then boiled in plain water until almost falling apart. The fries are then drained and placed on a baking or roasting dish. Then instead of deep frying, they are drizzled in a bunch of olive oil and baked for a long time in the oven to develop that beautiful crispiness. The fries are then tossed in a bowl with salt and any other flavorings that you would like to add for your enjoyment. In Adam's video, he used garlic, black pepper, cilantro, and Parmesan cheese. For my version of these crispy oven French fries, I've used basic food science to cook them faster, enhance the texture, and the taste. Let's talk speed first. To start, I cut my potatoes into smaller, uniform fries and spread them out evenly on the baking sheet. This one is simple. Smaller food with ample space for water to dehydrate will cook and crisp faster than larger ones. I used roughly 1/2 inch fries and made sure each one had plenty of space on the baking sheet. Without room, these will not crisp up. But what if you want more speed? Well, use peanut oil instead of olive oil. From the Food Lab by Kenji Lopez, he notes that in general, the higher saturated fat content of the oil, the more efficiently it will crisp up. This means we get crispy fries faster using peanut oil at 17% saturated fat instead of olive oil, which is around 13%. Specifically, by introducing these two changes, my version took only 30 minutes at 450 degrees to reach an acceptable level of crispness, whereas Adam's versions took me 50 minutes, or about a 40% increase in speed. And if speed is what you are after, definitely consider using these techniques. Let's talk texture. In Adam's version, boiling the potatoes in plain water breaks down the pectin, which can quickly turn them into mashed potatoes if you're not careful, and Adam himself makes a note of this as well.
You basically boil these until you're terrified they're going to fall apart, which is a particular danger with the long, thin shape we're working with.
Well, if you want to avoid the troubles of French fries falling apart, just add a little bit of vinegar. You see, acidic environments actually reduce or prevent the breakdown of pectin in the potatoes. So by adding just a tablespoon of vinegar to about a quart of water, we get this dramatic difference. Both spent equal times in the boiling water, but those ones that are boiled in vinegar aren't going to break apart when performing this highly scientific wiggle test. Lastly, let's talk taste. So I'm not going to focus on what flavorings you should add to your fries like garlic powder or cayenne pepper because that's really all taste preference. However, there's one really important improvement that can be made in my eyes, and that is salting the boiling potato water. You see, by creating a salty environment around the potatoes, this is going to internally season them through diffusion. Just try a potato that has been boiled without salt and one that has been boiled with, and there is a huge difference. I can eat the seasoned ones as is. From Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat by Samin Nosrat, she recommends using roughly 1% by weight for vegetables, so for a pound or 454 grams of potatoes, that's roughly 5 grams of salt. I typically just add a 3-finger pinch of salt. So we have the why, let's walk through the step-by-step process for my recipe of crispy oven French fries. To start, set a pot of water on medium-high heat to bring to a boil. Meanwhile, we can work on our potatoes. Peel the potatoes with your desired tool, and for my potato choice, I'm using 4 russet potatoes, but Yukon Golds would work great too. Once they are peeled, slice the potatoes into roughly 1/2 inch sheets, then into roughly 1/2 inch thick fries, or whatever your desired fry size. Once the water has boiled, add a tablespoon of vinegar and a 3-finger pinch of salt, stirring to dissolve the salt. Add the french fries to the boiling water and set a timer for 8 minutes. Again, the vinegar keeps the potatoes intact and the salt will internally season them. When the time is up, pour the fries into a colander or strainer and let the excess steam evaporate for a couple of minutes. Add the boiled fries to a large baking sheet and pour over about a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of peanut oil. Mix the fries so the oil completely coats the outside of each fry. And this is going to be a good bit of oil. There should be a thin layer of excess oil on the pan. Make sure you evenly space out your french fries on the pan so that steam can escape in the oven and they can start to crisp up faster. Slide that pan into a preheated 450-degree oven and set a timer for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, pull the baking sheet out to check on them and just flip them over with a spatula. At this point, you should be able to see some blistering on the outside, but the fries won't be overly crispy. If they do look a little dry though, feel free to drizzle over some more peanut oil. Then add them back to the oven and bake for another 15 to 20 minutes. Check them intermittently, and at this point they should be nice and crispy and slightly browned, though it could take longer depending on the size of the fry, how crowded the pan is, or the type of oil that you used. If they aren't crispy, let them go longer. To drain them, set a paper towel in a bowl. Pour in the fries and immediately add a generous pinch of salt. Toss the fries with the paper towel so it absorbs the excess oil on the outside. Then you can remove the paper towel and feel free to add whatever spices, herbs, or flavorings that you would like, but salt is the one thing that is non-negotiable. And I kept these plain for my purposes of the taste test, but another bowl that I did earlier in the day had smoked paprika, garlic powder, and chili powder. Anyway, let's get to the taste test. All right, everybody, so let's give Adams the first taste test, and I have to do them one, then make the other, then test the other, just because I don't have enough pans, and I didn't want to like mess up the cooking time by having them like both in the oven at the same time to see that might have like thrown off the cooking time. But anyway, let's give these a try. These are absolutely great oven french fries. I mean, you guys can hear the crunchiness. They're fluffy if you like the bigger style kind of french fries. They're great. The salt on the outside is definitely key. I will say though, especially on these bigger pieces where you get some more like of the fluffy potato, you definitely notice that it hasn't been salted in the boiling water as well, because it's not like internally seasoned and you're only getting the salt from the exterior that we added right at the end. But anyway, let's hop into the second taste test, which are the ones that I made with peanut oil. All right, everybody, let's do the taste test of mine. And these have been sitting out for like probably 10 or 15 minutes. Had to get the thumbnail with the other ones and then take a couple clips. But like Adam said in his videos, these actually do maintain their crispiness for quite a while. All right, I'm not gonna lie, these are really addicting, really tasty. Let's compare the two. So, like I said before, the big differences were we added vinegar and salt to the water of this. So the vinegar helps maintain the structure when you're moving them around, frying them and things like that so they don't fall apart. But like we said, you can definitely keep these intact. You just gotta be a little bit more careful with them when you're moving them to the pan and stuff. And you will get some pieces that kind of fall apart like this. So, I mean, if you don't want to use vinegar, you don't have to. But if you do want to, I mean, you will get a better structure one. All of them will stay intact as you're moving them around the boiling water when you're, flipping them on the plate and things like that. Salting though, I would say that one's pretty much non-negotiable for me. I mean, you can tell there's a big difference if you salt your water versus not salting the water. They're not internally seasoned, like they're just kind of plain potato in there. But with these, you can tell that they were definitely internally seasoned, and you actually get a little bit of the twang from the vinegar in there as well. And then lastly, let's talk speed. So obviously, if you cut them into smaller sizes, these are gonna crisp up much faster. And also using the peanut oil crisps them more efficiently. So when these when these olive oil ones looked like these ones, they weren't, like I took one out, I should have filmed it. They weren't like super crispy as these though. So even though these went longer, these kind of took longer to get to this super crispy stage. And because they spend more time in the oven, you actually get it more dehydrated. So it's kind of like a little bit drier in the middle. Where compared to these are much closer to like deep fried fries. Like that's my one kind of complaint of oven fries in general, is that since they spend so long time cooking, they kind of, the interior is like a little bit dry. But the less amount of time that they actually spend in the oven, that becomes less of a problem. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'll have Adam's video linked down below if you guys wanna try out his version. And then I'll have the recipe link that goes to my website with all my recipes from all my videos if you guys wanna check that out. But thank you to all my Patreon subscribers, those little guys that come on with their names at the end of each video. That's gonna wrap it up for this one. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.